Good afternoon, my name is Destiny Talbert, and today I will be discussing how disordered eating in adolescence derives from cultural conformity within the United States. As social media has been rapidly integrated into modern culture, the pressure to achieve the perfect figure, as defined by society, has increased exponentially. Due to this spreading phenomenon, many women begin to adopt unhealthy eating patterns in an attempt to better fit this unrealistic standard. This then raises the question: to what extent does disordered eating in adolescence derive from cultural conformity within the United States? As modern culture begins to exert an ample amount of pressure on adolescents regarding body image, one may see this outcome present itself in a form of disordered eating. With this mindset being implemented into still developing brains, negative consequences occur. To prevent this outcome, higher use of moderation and content reviewers should be implemented in monitoring social media to therefore prevent the need to completely change your physical appearance to pursue an unrealistic image. The concept of ultimately conforming to be better accepted or included by society, regardless of the consequences on oneself, is derived from the stimulus material, the cultural evolutionary trade-off of ritualistic synchrony, and is called destructive obedience. Destructive obedience is an incline to follow majority opinion rather than individual opinion, as an attempt to receive validation from those around you, regardless of the detrimental outcomes associated with the end goal. This oftentimes arises from general conformity. The stimulus material neurosensitivity to conflicting attitudes supports greater conformity towards positive over negative influences in early adolescence, discusses research-based evidence, conveys neurological responses provided by adolescents considering taking part in actions or ideas their peers are taking part in. This concept deriving from the stimulus material connects to my argument by supporting that culture, such as social media or one's peers, massively contributes to and essentially adds to a need to achieve a slimmer body by eating less. Considering the idea that disordered eating is not narrow enough to be fully considered an eating disorder, it is oftentimes ignored and pushed to the side and not dealt with until it is seen as a true eating disorder. With disordered eating becoming more and more normalized as time passes, or even seen as a good thing, adolescents that often start this process end up with an eating disorder and do not search for or receive the help that they need and require. This furthermore supports the idea that something as small as a diet, if started for negative reasoning, can progress into an eating disorder. The majority of these diets derive from the mindset that gaining weight is detrimental and almost frightening due to the ideal that getting rid of the thinness that society praises is not good. Today's culture has been proven to be a vast contributor in broadcasting thinness or skinniness as the only body type to be accepted as attractive. This has then prompted countless adolescents to attempt to pursue this unrealistic standard and essentially conform to the image in the eyes of society. In support of this, the graph on the screen shows that 87% of women and 65% of men consistently compare themselves to body images seen on social media. Correspondingly, as adolescents witness their peers' desire to take part in the ongoing trend of skinny culture, they are more likely to conform due to the realization that their equals also share this mindset and furthermore promote this mentality. In recent years, screen time has begun to increase, specifically among adolescents. The majority of this additional time has been devoted to social media as it has become more popular. A direct correlation between the amount of time spent on social media and the internal demand to resemble those seen on social media has been acknowledged by Julian K. Bauer. Bauer conducted research studying subjects' time on social media from anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours and connected it to the internal demand to resemble those seen on social media platforms. Unsurprisingly, with a higher amount of time spent on social media, an increase in wanting to resemble those seen on social media was discovered. In order to try and remedy this problem, we must recognize that social media can be seen as the root of this problem. This leads me to my first possible solution: completely eradicating social media and any other platforms where you upload images. In doing this, exposure to new trends being created alongside unrealistic standards in body image will massively decline, which will lead to less pressure to conform to these. However, this solution is not probable because while social media is the main source of these images, it is also extremely beneficial in the sense that it unites multiple communities and multiple people together. For example, Sirius Pahini conducted a study that found that social media was almost essential in the sense that it connected like-minded peers globally and it made it simplistic to reach out to others. Correspondingly, traditionals such as distance and language have been ultimately eliminated throughout different organizations and the world itself. While eradicating social media altogether is insufficient, placing a higher number of content reviewers and a higher number of moderation on social media platforms can help contribute to a lower number of posts promoting both unhealthy and unrealistic body images. A content reviewer on social media is essentially either a person or a computer that analyzes people's personal profiles and what others put on social media. While many social media platforms currently have a scarce amount of these in place, numerous posts promoting eating disorders and unhealthy body images are often overlooked completely. By implementing this solution, exposure to these unrealistic images will therefore decrease, stopping the original mindset that a person must be skinny to be considered beautiful. With this, eating disorders will begin to decrease, therefore providing a safer and more nourishing environment for adolescents. While this solution is my most effective, there are limitations. Many social media platforms do not feel the need to allocate more money and more funding into content reviewers, even though the benefits have been proven to be exponential. In conclusion, social media has proven its influence over society in the sense that skinny women are seen as more beautiful. Growing up with this mindset has led many adolescents to develop an eating disorder, and therefore, in order to prevent this, we need to place more content reviewers on social media platforms In order to prevent this, we must place more content reviewers on social media so the exposure to these images is therefore discontinued, stopping the problem at its root. Thank you for your time.
All right. Nope. Full defense.
Oh, just kidding.
It's okay. All right, so 2 questions. The first one is going to be about your research process. My question for you is, how did your research question evolve as you moved through the research process?
So when I first started developing my research question with my research, I originally did not have like a certain age category that I was targeting, and it was really broad because I didn't have a specific type of person that I was specifically targeting and researching. And as I talked with my class and my group, I kind of realized that I needed to make it more narrow so I could actually focus on a certain amount of people, and that's when I chose adolescents. So that's when it went from eating disorders like in everyone to specifically eating disorders in adolescents.
Okay. And this next question is about your argument. What are the implications that you found in your solutions that could impact your local community?
So essentially, for my first solution, that was the worst one. I found that eradicating social media completely could help to kind of promote. In my second solution, which was putting more content reviewers in place on social media, I found that in doing that, then eating disorders can be less like promoted and less like in your face on social media, and they would be therefore taken down. So I feel like in this community, like as a school and like just as an environment, I feel like a lot of students struggle with their body image because of a lot of things posted on social media that make them want to pursue that even though it's unrealistic. So I feel like content moderators on social media can help the environment and community that we live in by like showing younger girls and men that not everything you see on social media is real, because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that.
Good. All right, excellent job.
Thanks.